What's up, guys? Dylan here, bringing you, 6 days, almost a week after I made it, a battle with this NU team. If I can find one. Sorry about it taking so long, guys. Just I've been very, school and work and everything. I've been quite busy. And wow, all right, that just changed my teammates or my opponent's team really quick. So I have tested with Piloswine and Absol. Piloswine switched out for Absol, and it works pretty similarly either way. So I don't, I prefer Absol because I like Absol, but I do play with Piloswine sometimes when I'm in that mood. So he actually has Zebstrika on his team too. Physical, special slash mix or mixed possibly. Physical. Tentacruel there. So I will lead with Wheezing, who can drop Willows like it's his job. Because no, Zebstrika isn't always physical. Forget about that. So he goes into Piloswine to lead off, and I will drop a Willow on him, and he gets burned. So his actual attacks won't be doing much. He can still get the rocks up, obviously. And I will Sludge Bomb now, whether he stays or switches. I'm not too worried about him staying. Sludge Bomb will do a mediocre amount of damage if he switches out, and he does. He goes into Tentacruel, who resists that Sludge Bomb pretty handily. So now he will probably start setting up Toxic Spikes, which, even though I have Wheezing as a poison type, he's not grounded, so I cannot absorb them. So I will go into Absol to hit this thing with a Psycho Cut. And before it does anything, he knocks off my Choice Band. Ooh, that is a sad thing to happen because that gets rid of a lot of my power. It's almost never good. Oh wow, so it started with that one. So it has both here. Thanks. I'm just gonna forfeit this one because I didn't want it to look for both. I guess that when I clicked it twice, it did both. So I'm sorry to that guy, but I'm in here now. I'll go for another Psycho Cut because worst case scenario, it hits something pretty solid. He goes out into Piloswine. Does 20%, which is meh, alright, and I will go back into Wheezing to take this thing. Wow, I'm sorry to that other guy if, for some reason he sees this. I didn't want to run two battles like that. He goes for the EQ, which Wheezing doesn't get hit by, so I'm not too worried about it, and I will go for a Sludge Bomb on whatever comes in. He goes back into Tentacruel, who doesn't worry about it too much. I'm going to drop a Willow on this thing just to get residual damage. And he finally does set up those T-Spikes. And I'm not going to be able to take him down before the second one, so who do I not want to be toxic to just be regular old? Poisoned. I guess Zebstrika. Zebstrika or Simisear. Who has the better chance of sweeping through this team? I'm going to go with Zebstrika. So I will spread this to Zebstrika. And we'll see if he does just set up the next layer of Toxic Spikes. He doesn't. He goes for the knockoff. Knocks off my Life Orb, which doesn't bother me too much. I will outspeed now, though, and be able to KO with the return. I should have gone for the Wild Charge, or the Flame Charge to boost my speed. Derp. Because it still would have KO'd. And he goes into Piloswine now. I will go into Leafeon, who will be able to take the EQ, and also heal Bell himself off. He goes for the Ice Shard, and with the burn and my physical defenses, that still does nothing, 11%. So I'm going to heal Bell this off of myself. He goes for the Ice Shard again doing very little damage. And this Piloswine's about to die. I'll Witch Up right now, get myself back to full. He goes for the Icicle Crash, which actually, it pulls a crit and does quite a bit of damage, which is a problem. And I will just protect off now so that he can't get another crit with the Ice Shard or something, and just play it safe and let him go down to the burn. So there goes his Piloswine, and I am still at pretty decent health with this Leafeon here, so in he goes to this Zebstrika. I'm going to knock off his item, and that'll tell me a little bit about what he is. He's a special one, and his Overheat misses. I may or may not have been able to survive just from natural bulk, and the fact that Zebstrika's offenses are, or special offenses, middling at best. And he goes for the overheat here, doesn't do too much, and drops his special attack. Now I just have to worry about the poison. I will go for a toxic because he doesn't have anything that can absorb it, and wish up after that. He volt switches, and I traced his lightning rod actually, so that just boosted my special attack. I drop a toxic on him, and he forfeits because he didn't like that. So alright, I would have liked to finish that battle because it was going fairly well. So alright, I'll look for another battle now, and just go with whatever happens. I won't click it a million times because this didn't pop up, because I think that's why I had a second battle running, is because I clicked it twice because this whole searching bar didn't pop up immediately. And here we go into another battle with Big Pim Pim, who has Tentacool Tentacool again, and this is probably a Sunny Day team, would be my guess. So if he leads with that Tentacool, or Tangela, I will want to get rid of it right away. So I'm going to go into Simisear, actually, take a very aggressive lead, and he actually goes into Cincino instead. So that means that I am going to go out into Leafeon, because as long as he doesn't U-turn, Leafeon will be able to take anything at least half, and then I'll protect up Wish and be able to stall him out for a while at least. Barring a million crits, he goes for the Rock Blast and misses. Luckily enough, I will knock off his whatever he has, possibly Choice Band. He U-turns out though, so it's a Life Orb. Now I'll just get the knockoff on whatever comes in. It's not a bad thing to get on anything, because pretty much every poke relies on an item to some degree. So knockoff is a good move to get on pretty much anything. We'll see what he switches out into right now, if he just takes the aggressive move straight into Emboar or what, and he does go into Emboar. Soon is his question mark. Knock off his Wide Lens, which is an interesting move to run on Emboar, because of or an interesting item to run on Emboar, increasing his accuracy. So he goes for the Scald here. Interesting strategy. Pulls the Burn on me. I'm not too worried about it, and I will Pain Split on him as he goes for the Fire Blast and KOs, actually. Wow. Wasn't quite expecting that. I'll go into Gardevoir now, see if I can drop a Toxic on him. We'll see what I can do with that, maybe. If he switches out into Tentacool, then so be it. I will have to work around that with either Zebstrika or Absol, because they can both hit him super effectively. And so we'll see what he does right now. I could see him switching out into Tentacool to try to set up on me. Then again, I'm probably, especially, he's probably expecting a Psychic right now, so he probably won't go into Tentacool. He does go into Tentacool though, and so that Toxic doesn't really matter, and that means that I will go out into Zebstrika, I guess. In before any sort of poison. Yeah, we'll go with Zebstrika. And he goes for the knockoff himself, knocks off my Life Orb. Zebstrika also does not mind too much losing a Life Orb, still has quite a bit of power. And I go for the Wild Charge. He sees that coming, goes into his Golurk, which pretty much walls this Zebstrika solidly. But I will go back into my Leafeon now, as he goes for the EQ, which I resist, doesn't do too much damage. And I will Wish off here to get myself back up to full health, or darn near it. We'll see if he stays or switches or what. China, he says, because of earthquakes. Hilarious. He goes into his Saucebuck now, and I should be able to take a hit from Saucebuck. They're physical. Leafeon's physically defensive. I will knock off his Saucebuck's attack, or item. He does stay, and I'll knock off his Life Orb so that he does at least a little bit less damage to me. And, I'm not worried about those returns too much. I'll re-Wish here. Barring a crit, I will be just fine against this Saucebuck. He re-returns. I re-wish up, and so yeah, I will pass this wish into somebody who can actually do some damage to this thing. I'll go in with Zebstrika right now, hoping that he. No, I don't want to go into Zebstrika. I'll go into Simisear. He may be able to drop me into Gluttony range, and then I will heal back up. But he doesn't. He goes for the Sword Stance actually, which could be a problem. I will go for the Flamethrower straight out. I don't want to mess around with this thing now that it's boosted. But he switches out into Tentacool actually, which is not too bad. I'll set up a sub and start nasty plotting. I don't have my Salic boost, so this Chincino will outspeed me if it comes down to it. But I'm hoping that he can get rid of my sub and I can eat that Salic before it does come down to that. And I will nasty plot again at +3. Now he goes for the Scald. He does get rid of my sub, which means that I can resub now and get my Salic. And there it goes. And let's see if I can KO at +3 a resisted Flamethrower. Fingers crossed. He does still have his Violate, I assume, and it does 33%. That Scald will take me down, so there goes that. And now I don't have too much to deal with this Tentacruel with Zebstrika only, but I can't do anything with Zebstrika until I get rid of that Golurk. I will knock off his Tentacruel's Eviolite, making him at least a bit easier to deal with as he knocks off my leftovers, which makes me a bit easier to deal with. I will Heal Bell off this Toxic, so that at least Leafeon doesn't have to worry about it racking up, and he goes for the Scald, which doesn't do much at all. I will Wish here, so I'm going to have to try to get through this thing and end up probably stalling with Leafeon and Gardevoir, and try to get some Toxic on all of his pokes, because he's sitting real pretty right now, so I'm going to end up having to play solid defense even without wheezing. I get that Wish in. I will go ahead and just there's not much that I can do right now without a free switch into Absol, and even then he'll just end up switching out, so he may be able to KO me with, or finish me off with this Emboar. I know that he's not scarfed or anything. He goes for the Fire Blast. So it may, if it's a fully special one, then I could be able to take him for a while with Gardevoir at least. He goes for the Fire Blast. Doesn't do too much, but this Toxic damage is going to start racking up really quick. Let me see if I can get a Toxic on this thing right now. While I have the chance, he switches out into Tentacool to take it, which is a problem. The fact that he's not an idiot. I will Wish up right now, as he probably knocks off my leftovers. So yeah, that'll get rid of my Gardevoir's survivability too. And I really need to get through this thing, and he does knock off my leftovers. And I get the Wish off, and I will go into Absol right now, see if I can do some damage to some of his pokes at least, as he goes for the Scald, doing quite a bit of damage to me, but I get that Wish coming through, so I get the free switch in anyway, and I will start firing off with a Night Slash, because I don't know if he'll stay, and even if he does, yeah, I get rid of him. Minus that Violate, I can take him out with that Night Slash. This Tincino can probably come in and KO me right away, because I do still have my band, so I am still choiced. I know most of my pokes don't have their item left, so I have to remember who has what. This team is pretty solid on this guy's side. He's going to be able to get through me. I predict myself losing this battle as of right now. He goes into Tangela now, and I'm pretty sure that I knocked off Tangela's Violet. I'm not sure though. I'll go for the Night Slash anyway, and I guess that I didn't, because that didn't do much damage at all. So I'll switch out into Leafeon right now, and then see if I can get Zebstrika in to get that Sap Sipper boost. And then I may be able to actually dent this Golurk with a Flame Charge or whatever it is. Go to Leafeon as he Giga Drains. So I don't know if he's going to continue doing that or not. So I'll see if I... You know what, I'll just go into Zebstrika anyway. I'm getting kind of desperate at this point. And he goes for the Sleep Powder, boosting my attack, so... Alright, that's a good thing at least. I'll go for the Flame Charge, because I see him going into that Golurk. We'll see if that Flame Charge does anything with +1 attack. Hopefully it does at least like a middling amount of damage, like enough that I can 2-hit him. But he goes into Embor instead, so that Flame Charge doesn't do much at all. I do have the speed boost now though, so I know that I will outspeed, and I'll go for the return, because I might be able to KO with the return actually. But I'm not sure, and I don't want to, with the toxic racking up, I don't want to use the wild charge. Thanks. And I can't quite KO with the return, because of the lack of life orb. With the life orb, that would have KO'd. Even with max damage, that may have KO'd. So that's a tragedy right there that he survives with only 7%, and I'm pretty much screwed at this point. He's got the toxic on everything. Minus a spinner. This is pretty much just a downhill fight from here. I'm just gonna have to sucker punch everything and hope that it works for me. It's pretty much my only bet. 'Cause yeah, I'm pretty much screwed now. GG. That was my last bet. My last chance was that Zebstrika. Now that I'm minus that Zebstrika, I'm pretty much screwed. Actually, I just traced a regenerator. Let me switch out into Leafeon and get myself some health. Go back into... I'll see if I can get this Carnivore back up to full health with Regenerator. He goes for the HP Fire there. I trace his Regenerator. I'll go back out, continue healing up with that Regenerator as he goes for the Giga Drain, doesn't do much. And, there goes Leafeon into Gardevoir, who's now at a respectable health due to that Regenerator. And Signal Beam is pretty much all I got. I got rid of that. Tentacool too late, and it I wasn't able to stall out the rest of his team. He goes into his Golurk to finish me off with a Shadow Punch or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, Shadow Punch. There it is. And alright, so yeah, there you go. The two different sides of this team, the winning side and the losing side. Losing and wheezing so really hurt me, honestly. And I could have, possibly won if I still had wheezing in there. But I let him stay against that Embor, who I assumed was physical, ended up being special. I didn't know if he just had that I probably should have figured that out with the Scald. I don't know. I just kind of assumed that it was like a weird set. And so, yeah, I should have gone straight into Gardevoir with that, and that would have been the better. I would have had that wheezing around a little bit longer, and I could have worked around that defensive core longer until I got rid of that Tentacool. It would have been nice. And, I could have possibly ended up, toxic stalling out some of his pokes until I could have just swept through with either Zebstrika or Absol at the end. So tragically enough, that did not happen. I lost Wheezing, and then once I lost Zebstrika, I pretty much gave up. So yeah, alright. I don't know, I'm still just rambling about it. You guys just saw it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Keep coming back. I will keep putting up more. Hopefully it won't be this sporadic, but with work and school, now that I'm going back to school again, I can't promise anything. But we'll see. we'll see what happens. I did make a team in one of my classes in school today. But it was mostly theoretical, and I didn't put too much time into it. I just kind of threw it together. But I'll probably make a team building on that in a little bit here. So yeah, all right. Thank you guys for watching. Keep coming back. I will keep putting up more. Au revoir.